First of all, thank you all for spending your lunch break with us. We appreciate it greatly. I'd like to introduce my friend Peg. She won't be speaking because I have the microphone, but I want you to know her face. She's super important. So for my lady back there in the back that's getting an Associate of Arts in Criminal Justice, Associate of Arts in Sociology, this is your gal right here. Okay, when you transfer to a four-year institution, you need to see Peg. As soon as you know what your program is going to be and where you're transferring to, please send her an email. I gave you each a card. For the young man that walked in just a couple of minutes ago, I have a card if you want Peg's information so that you guys can get started. Did you have anything else you wanted me to add? Okay, well, Peg's going to be your best friend here in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do my portion of it, which is going to be dealing with, if you're headed to workforce, the things that you need to know. Okay? So my name is Teresa Shafe. I am a student success advisor here at Western, but I'm also a certified career services provider. I want to talk to you a little bit about what you need to get started as you are headed out to the workforce. First of all, I put them in the order of importance. I started with knowing how to network. I know everybody always talks about your resume, but frankly, networking is the #1 way that people land their positions. And then of course you need a good functional resume and you need to know how to make that work. And then also be aware of successful interviewing techniques, which is what we're going to cover today as well. So first, why is networking so important? I put some statistics up here for you. If you look at this here, I just took out a couple of years so that you could see the climb. But if you look here, once upon a time, when I was a young woman, I was able to stroll into a facility and say, hey, are you hiring? Can I get an application? Those days, they don't happen anymore. They're behind us. If you look here, the newspaper classifieds, look at the drop in how people are getting their positions through the newspaper classifieds. If you look at networking, however, 41%, 47%, 46% in 2012. Okay? And then there's also the internet job boards, and we'll touch on that just a little bit today as well. Networking is probably the single most difficult thing that you're going to do as you start looking for a position. Okay? How do you do that? Well, one of the things is to create a LinkedIn page, but the other is to utilize your friends and your family. Tell them what you want to do. Reach out. Career fairs, we're going to have one next month. Even if you're not looking yet, your first year students, I want you to come out to the career fair and meet the employer, shake their hands, talk to them a little bit, let them talk about their company. Facebook is a form of networking, okay? You have a Facebook. Very often, a lot of businesses also have a Facebook. Volunteering. Don't underestimate the power of volunteering, because when you're out volunteering, you're getting to know people in the community. Temporary jobs. Great thing to put on the resume, even if it's only for a few months. And it might be in the company that you are hoping to get hired on by. They get to know you, find out you're a good fit for their organization. Do you think you're going to beat out the guy that they don't know that's just coming with the resume? You're going to beat that guy out. And then alumni groups. Okay, so a little bit about LinkedIn. I suggest if you're going out into the professional world, you create a LinkedIn account. If you look here, 98% of the recruiters and 85% of the hiring managers use LinkedIn to find a candidate. Every week, I get a hit or two on my LinkedIn. I'm not looking, but every week, somebody is checking out my profile. So, Facebook. Never allow Facebook or any other social media to take the place of visiting with people. If you are at the restaurant, you're standing in line. I see it all the time. I'm also guilty of it. Right? Put the phone down. See if you can't talk to your neighbor. Okay? Visit with people, person to person. Many businesses use Facebook as a way to promote their company. We sort of touched on that. And also, social media is meant to build the relationships, but nothing can take the place of face-to-face. Nothing. Now, when we talk about Facebook, though, we have to just cover this really briefly. You have to be careful what you put on Facebook. You'll notice the young man with this smoking thing in his hand and the burning of the flag. You got to be careful. If you present yourself as being a partier, if you present yourself as being, oh, I don't know, someone that has the opposite end of political views, perhaps of the company, or the individual that's going to be doing the hiring. You have to be so careful about that. And you have to watch what you say about your current employer. You might think that you are practicing your free speech right, and who amongst us doesn't feel that we have that right? But you have to be careful. You might think you're practicing it as a way of expressing yourself, but they see you as a bad fit for their organization. Now, this is the career fair. We talked a little bit, just very briefly once again, about our career and transfer fair. At this time, we have Genesis, Tata, the Wyoming Department of Transportation, Wyoming Workforce Services, Aspen Medical Center, Memorial Hospital, U.S. Army, United States Marine Corps, Elwood Staffing. That's just a small snippet of who's coming to this career fair. There's bound to be something out there for you to explore, to research. Walk up to those individuals, shake their hand, introduce yourself, tell them your name, and then let them talk about your company. So you might do this. Hi. I do. My name is Teresa Shafe. I'm a Student Success Advisor at Western. What's your name? Dylan. Shaw. And Dylan, what are you getting your degree in?
Heavy diesel technology.
He had a great handshake, by the way. Okay? Then ask them, can you tell me a little bit about the types of candidates that you look for at your company? What sorts of positions do you hire for? Let them talk, folks. People love to talk, all right? Let them talk. So let's talk a little bit about your resume now. We just touched on networking, but let's talk about your resume. I wish somebody had told me this stuff when I was out looking for a job. You need to know about the applicant tracking system. This is no joke, folks. By and large, a lot of institutions, businesses, hire using the applicant tracking system software. That software is so specific that if you don't have the right keywords, it will boot your resume out. So not even similar wordage or verbiage, the actual words. So when we talk about doing your resume, think about it in terms of doing a career profile or a qualification summary. And you want to use the business style font. I've read in more than one place that Times New Roman is out. So think about Arial, Verdana, Garamond, Cambria. Think about those styles. Nothing too crazy. No cursive or anything like that, because once again, the applicant tracking system software is going to kick it out. Okay? Make sure it's pretty. Lots of white space. Quick, concise. Don't make long statements because they're not going to read it. Okay? This is what I don't want you to do when you're creating your resume. I do not want you to use an objective statement. An objective statement tells a company what you want. I am seeking an entry-level position in your organization so that I can become the CEO. Of course, you're not going to put that on there, but you might say, I'm seeking an entry-level position. Tell them what you're bringing to the party, okay? Do not put your references on the resume. Just take a sheet with your references on it into the interview, and a lot of times on the applications, they have you put your references on there anyways, okay? No photographs, unless you're a model, movie star, something like that. They don't care what you look like, and they shouldn't care what you look like. They should care about your qualifications, okay? No colored font, no colored paper. I've even seen some of these crazy templates that have graphs and things like that on it. No, don't do that, okay? You don't want to use the same resume over and over, okay? You want to tailor your resume using those key words that are in the job description. And also, you don't want to ever lie or exaggerate your skills, because if they hire you and find out you don't have them, you've given them cause to release you. And try not to speak, and please don't, period, I or me. Avoid I or me. Okay. What goes first on the resume? Now, the first thing I want to tell you is resumes are very subjective, right? I might like the resume that Dylan submitted, but Stacy might not, right? We have to be careful, but these are some tried and true traits. First of all, where I put super subjective, use your judgment. Well, your name, of course, has got to go on your resume, right? Make it a little larger, maybe bold it. But then, here's where things vary, okay? No physical address, email address is all that you need, okay? That depends. If you're applying here somewhat locally, you might put your address on there, right? But if you're putting it through Indeed or Monster or some of those others, they don't need to know your physical address, okay? A lot of times they sell those things, right? And you get a lot of junk mail. Also, as young women, sometimes we need to think about being careful for security reasons. Your hyperlink, leave that intact if you're submitting it online, because all they got to do then, instead of having to type in, and how many of you done this? You type in somebody's email address, you miss a letter or something, it comes back. they can just click on that hyperlink and it will directly open up the email. So think about keeping that intact if you're submitting through Monster or Indeed or any of those other internet job board sites. Phone number, absolutely, they need a way to contact you, but here's one of my biggest frustrations as a student success advisor reaching out to one of you to have a conversation. No voicemail set up. Voicemail's full. Or probably the one that irritates me the most is I have to listen to a whole bunch of music before I can actually leave a message, okay? So make sure that it's appropriate and not, hey, dog, this is such and such. Hi, this is such and such, right? This is Dylan. Leave a name and a number. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Dylan, because I know his name gets picked on today. Now, career qualifications or summary statement. This is huge. This is really, really big. Avoid the objective statement, right? Remember, 6 seconds is the average time that an employer will look at your resume. If you don't sell them those first 6 seconds, they're not going to keep going, all right? Look for keywords. We talked about that. I know I beat the keywords to death, but it's really important, okay? Now, this is just an example to also education or experience. I'm working at McDonald's, but I want to be an auto mechanic. I've gone to school to be an auto mechanic, but I don't have any experience in that. Well, I'm going to go ahead and list my education first, okay? But I actually worked down at Great Plains and did some changing of oils. And do they change oil at Great Plains? Anybody know? No? Do you think they do? Okay, good, because I'm not sure. And maybe I've done tires. So I've got a little bit of mechanical experience there, right? So then I can list my experience. Or if I've done a co-op or an internship, I want to go ahead and put that experience first to let them know, and then go on with the education. Now, here's an example of a career summary. If you look at this, the job description in this case is asking for Excel and Word proficient, great patient care skills, knowledge of the Care Cloud medical office software. I don't have any knowledge of this particular software, but I'm going to zoom in on those keywords. I want my resume to stand out. So notice over here, experienced medical administrative assistant with extensive medical office software knowledge. Okay. Knowledge, software, there's 2 of those words, right? Highly proficient with Word and Excel. Excel and Word. Notice I didn't say Microsoft Office because that's not the keywords that they're looking for. They're looking for Excel and Word. And then excellent patient care skills. Oh, they said great patient care skills. Well, I put patient care skills in there, but I'm better than great. I'm excellent, right? And then able to gather information, listen, and be mindful of patient needs. I've caught the resume at the applicant tracking software system, but if somebody's visualizing that, they see that I've also got a lot of what they want, and then I've enhanced it a little bit. More about your resume. Try to keep it 1 to 2 pages in length. Most of you all, I don't think you could exceed 1 page. I really don't. If you've been out in the workforce 15 or 20 years, probably you could. Using 2 pages of brief, succinct messages. Okay, don't make it so tiny that they struggle to read it. Okay, but don't ramble on either. I want you to think when you're sending in this resume, you're thinking about, if I were in that chair, would I want me? Think from the employers, what am I bringing to the table that's going to enhance this employer's, what they need, right? If you have a lengthy work history, try to keep it down to the last 10 to 15 years, unless the skills that you had before are relevant to the position that you are seeking. Okay, everybody hates the cover letter. I write a lot of these with folks, okay? They're not too terribly complicated. They're actually expanding upon your resume, okay? But the first paragraph, short 2 to 3 sentences, I'm interested in the position of, and this is why. I'm writing to or responding to. And then explain why you're a good candidate for that position. And then you might say, I look forward to speaking to you about this opportunity. Okay, good. You got past the applicant tracking system. Now you're getting an interview. This is what your clothing should look like or similar. I know that for a lot of you that are interested in getting out with the mines and things, if you have a nice shirt with a tie and Dockers, that's generally good, okay? You can never overdress though. You can certainly underdress. There's examples of underdressing. That's totally inappropriate clothing for going to an interview. Okay, totally. You thought it was good? Which one? The purple suit?
Yeah.
The purple suit? Yeah? Yeah.
You're going to tell me that wouldn't stand out?
Oh, you'll stand out, but not in a way that you necessarily want to. You're going to go apply for a position at one of the mines in that purple suit. You think you got a shot? I'm going to go with not. Okay? Men and women's suits in navy, black, or dark gray. A color-coordinated shirt. Nothing too flashy. Conservative shoes. Limit your jewelry. Probably anything. If you have a nose ring, and this is not me trying to be biased, guys, but if you have a nose ring or some of the other, like the eyebrow, I wouldn't wear those. I really wouldn't. Professional haircut, clean manicured nails, light or no cologne, and cover your tattoos. Your employer has the right to ask you to cover those tattoos even after you've landed the position. And on the cologne and perfume note, I have to tell you, a lot of times you're going to be doing these interviews in rooms that aren't very large. I mean, it could be large, but likely won't be. There's going to be more than one person. You're going to be nervous. Please wear your antiperspirant. I am not kidding. It's serious, because if you don't, it could be a real issue, because you're going to be sweating. Okay? And if you're wearing a lot of perfume or cologne, they're not going to remember your job skills. They're going to remember you as the gal or the guy that they couldn't breathe through. Okay? So keep that in mind. This is specifically geared towards women. Keep your skirt or your dress conservative. No big earrings. I love dangling earrings. Drove my mother insane, but I love those big earrings. Light makeup, nothing too crazy or over the top. And I know that this sounds weird, but the bulky or expensive bag, an expensive bag says, I really don't need this job. I got money, right? And if you have a bulky, disorganized bag, you set it down on the floor and your stuff starts rolling out, it kind of indicates that you're disorganized. They're going to be looking at everything about you, okay? This is what not to bring to an interview. These things have happened. That's why they are listed, okay? Your cell phone is especially something that we can all be guilty of. Don't even take it in. Put it in the car. Because if it goes off on vibrate, it's still not any good, okay? What it says is, I have this life outside of you, and I really need this. This is more important, okay? Chewing gum. Nobody wants to see that either. Your parents. Don't bring your parents. Your dog. Coffee or soda. Keep in mind, you know, you can bring water, because we all get kind of where we need a little bit of water. And then questionable reading material. Think about what you're taking in there. Remember, you want to be a good fit for their organization. So, prepare for anything. These are the types of questions that you should be ready for. Why are you the best candidate for this position? Think about that ahead of time. Why are you the best candidate for that position? Why do you want the job? Don't say, because I need money. You have to expand on that a little bit. What are your qualifications? What are your abilities? And then this one's really important, because I've sat in interviews where they ask me this. Do you have any questions for us? Your answer should be absolutely you have questions. Oh, absolutely. So you can ask them things like, tell me a little bit about the responsibilities, or because you're curious and you want to make yourself more qualified, right? Maybe in the future. Are there any qualifications that you would like to see in a candidate that maybe I don't have? Here are these. What did I say a while back? People love to talk about themselves and their company. So let them talk. How long have you been with the company? Or, what do you like best about working here? That shows that you care about where you're headed to. So absolutely have questions for that one. You will have questions, okay? This is what you don't ask. It's been done. That's why it's up here. Where does everyone hang out after work? Oh, you're a party animal. No, I don't think so. Do you have any children? Married? Too personal. Too personal. Things that you can find out on your own. Don't ask questions that you can get the answer to. And finally, don't talk about salary and benefits. You'll have the opportunity to reject the job later if it's not what you want. But don't ask about salary and benefits. Okay, now, what do you do during the interview? Well, you make eye contact. I know that's kind of hard. Some of us aren't able to do that, right? But make eye contact. Speak clearly and precisely. You guys are going to be scared. If it's something that you really want, you're going to be nervous, okay? Slow it down. Slow your roll. Isn't that what they say? Slow your roll? Okay, sit up straight. And there's a reason behind sitting up straight. You sit up straight, this is totally psychological, boosts your confidence. B, allows you to take a deep breath, so you will enunciate. You appear taller and more confident. Now, these are important. This is like the best part. Okay. Be positive. Do not go into this interview with an attitude of, I'm not going to get this job. Or, there's always somebody better than me. Nobody likes me, I think I'll go eat worms, right? None of that stuff. Be positive, think positive, and be energetic. Bring that to the table, that you're happy to be there. Because honestly, on a side note, guys, only a small snippet of people will get that interview. A lot of jobs, 25, 50 candidates. If you are in there to get an interview, you've already gotten past a lot of hurdles. Be enthusiastic. Finally, this is another really important part I want to share with you. Always say thank you. Remember that the likelihood of you going into a room and being interviewed by one person isn't that great. You're going to be interviewed by pretty much a board, as a rule, okay? You need to look at all of them and make them feel important. You need to send a thank you note and say thank you for the time that they have given you. That makes an impression, okay? Say thank you and never give up. Alrighty, so here at Mustang Success, I will help you create an interview, or create a resume, forgive me. I do mock interviews, which I've had a lot of good feedback on. People are really surprised. Job postings, we have 3 job boards here on campus. We try to make sure that we get those out where you can see them. And also, I'm going to do transfer help. Usually I do PEG's portion of this first, but we're going to do PEG's now. If you are considering, if you have an Associate of Arts, Associate of Science, and you're thinking about going down the road to a 4-year institution, please visit with PEG. Okay, so I had a young man that came in. Sir, what is your degree going to be? I'm sorry? Pre-med. Okay, so you definitely want to see PEG, right? You want to do your research. Make sure that I give you a card from PEG before you leave today. PEG's advice is start your transfer process the very first semester because life changes. You might think today that you're going to go to Weber, but then you find out that you can get a lot more bang for your buck at UW. So it's important to plan early. Where are you transferring to? What are the program requirements? So we have guided pathways here, and we do our best to set you up to be a junior at the next institution. However, it is up to the other institution whether or not they will accept those incoming credits. So it's your responsibility to make sure that you are transferring to an institution that has the program that you are looking for, and what credits will they accept. And you also need to make sure that you know their application deadlines. So I think I've got a senior now that's applied to UW, but there's all these different institutions that keep sending us email. We're going to extend your opportunity to apply, okay? Find out what their requirements are to apply, but you're looking at January, February as a rule that you need to plan for the fall of the next year. Okay. Now, a few questions that will help you decide. Is the institution accredited? That's super important. A lot of tech schools, for example, are not accredited. So if you went to a tech school in Colorado and it wasn't accredited, you come up here thinking you're going to get to transfer those credits in, and it's not going to happen. So make sure that it's accredited, because it can also make a difference in terms of getting your licensing or your certificates, right? Does the institution offer the program that you are pursuing, and how competitive is that program? I'm going to give you a small side note. The nursing program in this institution is highly competitive. I had a young lady whose mother wanted her to be a nurse. She didn't want to be a nurse. What do you think the odds of her becoming a nurse or getting into our nursing program is here? Exactly. You better want it, right? That's the same thing with wherever you are transferring to. You want to ensure that that institution, how competitive is it? Because, for example, I think the pre-radiology program at Weber looks for at least a 3.0 or higher, minimum. If you got a 2.75, that's going to be a struggle for you. So think about those things when you're looking at institutions that you want to transfer onto. Is it in your price range? If you have to secure loans, how long will you be in debt? If you want to go to Stanford or Harvard, you better have somebody in your family that's got a lot of money, or you can maybe hopefully get some good grants, right? You got to think about that. What is the placement rate once you graduate with a degree from that institution? So if you were to become a doctor out of Harvard, do you think you would easily find a job somewhere as a doctor? Yeah, right? But if you were to become a doctor out of the University of Bermuda, I have no idea if that exists, and it's not accredited, what do you think your odds of getting a job are? Slim to none. I'm going to go with pretty much none, okay? So make sure that you visit with Peg. Let's see what else she's got on here. So determine the program requirements at the institution to which you are transferring. So here, that's why it's so important to meet with Peg ahead of time, because she's able to go through with you and figure out what you've done here, because sometimes there's little subtle differences, right? So you maybe you're taking A and P here, which may go well at Weber for something, but maybe not at Stanford. Okay. I had a student that was a computer science major. Some of the things that we were doing here for his computer science major wasn't going to work at Stanford, and yes, he's going to Stanford. So we looked and we went with the much higher maths because those were going to be more useful to him at Stanford than anyplace else, okay, or some of the other things that we were saying. So keep all of your Western syllabi, and this is really hard for me because I've been to school in a number of different places, so I don't have my syllabi. Build a binder. Every time you take a class, print your syllabus and put it inside that binder so that you have it, okay? And then, let's see, schedule an appointment. We already know that. We've talked about Peg, because I talk about Peg all the time, because she's wonderful, right? Check the website of the institution you're transferring to make sure that you are fulfilling their checklist. A lot of times they'll say, do you have transcripts, FASFA, this, that, or the other. Make sure that you do the checklist. Check the department website to see if there's any additional requirements, because some of these are competitive and they may require letters of recommendation. Or I think UW, for a lot of their pre-med things, would like to have you shadowing a dentist or a doctor. Okay. A good rule of thumb is to apply at least 2 semesters prior to transferring. That's in case there's a hiccup. Okay. And then right after you apply, plan on sending your transcripts to the institution. So be ready for that. So you're not done. You don't have your degree yet, but you've accomplished a lot already. Send your transcripts so they can see what you've done. Okay, so she says stay on the transfer track and stop by Mustang Success to visit with her. I think, guys, that's all I have for that, but I want to field your questions. Do you have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the question was, on your resume, do you have to center everything? I would center your heading at the top with your name and your information, and then you would want to left align using bullets if necessary, right? Bullet points are good because it helps put that clear, concise look on there, and you can left align the rest of it. But centering, the only thing I would center on your resume would be your heading, okay? Any other questions? Yes. Okay. That's all right. The statement was, don't bring your bring your references in with you in a nice portfolio, something nice and neat, but don't use that space on your resume to put your references. That space is all about you, and it's very precious. chances are, I'd say probably, I'm just going to throw a wild number out there, but about 90% of the time when you filled out an application, you already put your references on there. And then just have a piece of paper with your references on there. And while I'm at it, bring an extra copy of your resume so that you can share that, a copy or two, in fact. And the reason I say bring an extra copy is you may have knocked this interview out of the ballpark and they love you. They already know that they're going to hire this other person. But you have left quite the impression on them and they want to keep you for future references. They may ask you, just in case there's another position that opens up, they can call you, okay? Or maybe they can talk to HR and finagle another position be added. So bring your extra resume just in case and your references in a nice, neat portfolio, okay? Any other questions? It's only like 12:34, so sorry it wasn't the full 45 minutes, but did you guys learn anything? Okay, know that we're here for you. We're always happy to help. And thank you for coming.